pleasant and fitting to praise Him. Fred Hodges, KKVV, Las Vegas.
Are you easily distracted with this Las Vegas city lifestyle? Well, keep on listening to KKVV Las Vegas so you can keep your focus on God.
Have you heard? Proactive is America's top acne system because it's fast and gentle, and it's all about prevention. So stay tuned for a chance to participate in a 60-day trial to prove it. Do you have troubled skin, acne? With Proactive, you can heal your acne and help prevent new breakouts. Right now, in this radio area, we're looking for just 50 people with moderate acne to demonstrate exactly how fast Proactive works. The first 50 callers who qualify can try Proactive risk-free for 60 days. And you get our dermatologist's clear skin or it's free guarantee. Plus, the trial includes our legendary refining mask and green tea moisturizer free. Be one of the 50 lucky people to complete this 60-day risk-free trial. You won't see this offer in stores or on TV. It's a radio exclusive. Supplies are limited and the trial offer ends soon. So call now. 1-800-575-9206. That's 1-800-575-9206. 1-800-575-9206.
Alors, bien-aimés dans le Seigneur, c'était Pasteur Carlo Tegenus. Donc, nous avons une nouvelle émission dans Radio ça, qui c'est Radio l'Évangile de Las Vegas. Qui a commencé demain samedi à 7h. Pas oublier, radio, c'est Radio l'Évangile de Las Vegas. On a commencé demain, si Dieu veut, à 7h à 7h du soir. Donc, mes chers et sœurs dans le Seigneur, donc, veillez à l'écouter parce que ça c'est Radio Panon, Radio l'Évangile de Las Vegas, qui c'est dans KKVV Las Vegas. Merci, que mon Dieu bénisse nous.
Tom Cantor comes from a long line of Orthodox rabbis, but the Messiah made him a friend of God.
Hi, I'm Tom Cantor. Picture yourself waiting for your friend to arrive at the airport. Your eyes pass from person to person. Suddenly, eyes meet, you smile, you found your friend. If that person was God, would you both say friend? Join me to start or deepen your personal friendship with God.
Don't miss Friendship with God every weekday afternoon at 5 p.m. on KKVV.
Welcome to Open Book Radio Club, a membership program of like-minded people. Your words should be heard to increase awareness of what you do. Become a part of a growing community and let Open Book Radio Club highlight you.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Open Book Radio Club. I am here once more to talk to you about a book, music, or small business. We are here every Saturday at 2:02 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can pick us up on KKVV.com. There is a spot where you would click on and you can see us live streaming, or you can click on Listen Live if you don't have that capability, and you can hear us anywhere in the world. So thank you for tuning in to the radio station, 1060 AM or KKVV.com. Now, before I go into the program, I want you to know that we are having a fantastic rummage sale right now as I am speaking. I was there this morning. It's going on all the way up until 5 o'clock in the evening, and the proceeds are going to come to us here at KKVV.com and KKVV 1060 Radio, because we are in the process of trying to accumulate funds for a translator, an FM translator that will allow us to be 24 hours a day, static free. You would be able to hear us and our power won't go down in the evening time. So we are asking for donations for gifts, and you know that you can send it here to the radio station. But in the meantime, if you're looking for some good stuff, then you need to be at the rummage sale. And I'm going to give you the address and the location. It's 7101 Cascade Valley Court. It's here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the cross streets are Cheyenne and Tenaya. They're at the La Quinta Hotel, and you can't miss that. When you pass the hospital, start looking for the hotel. It's towards the back. And so you got to definitely be looking up so you can see the sign. And that rummage sale is going on right now. It's the last great rummage sale, and it's going on right now up until 5 o'clock. When I leave the studio, I'm rushing back over there. So if you'd like to meet me, come on down. We would love to have you there. Fred Hodges, which is the general manager, is sitting there right now, and he has wonderful Bibles to sell. So please come and join us at the rummage sale. And remember, the proceeds is going to be going to us for a translator, so it is of a good cause, okay? Thank you so much. Now let's get with the program. I have a wonderful person here who wrote a book, and I think it's a book that everyone needs to read, and every teenager needs to know about, because things do happen, and they especially happen when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time doing the wrong thing. And you know what I mean by that. So I have her here, and I'm going to introduce her, but I want to tell you a little bit about her, so I'm going to read her bio. It's Bonita, correct?
Correct.
And then how do you pronounce your name? Fahy?
Fahy.
Okay, because it has an H in there and it kind of throws me off, but I'm going, it's got to be Fahy. Anyway, she is a native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the mother of 3 beautiful children. She is a speaker, a mentor, a community change agent, a published author of Guilty, The Inside Story. In 2002, Miss Fahy was actively using and selling marijuana. It was during this time that she witnessed a friend's murder. Fearing for her safety and struggling with sticking to the code of the streets, she was led further into depravity. Bonita was facing 80 years in prison, and so I'm going to repeat that. 80 years in prison, and the loss of her 3 beautiful children to the state of Wisconsin. During her incarceration, because of course they would still put her in, she prayed and she decided to take advantage of everything the system had to offer, because she was determined never to return to prison again. Miss Fahy is honored to be selected as one of the Spotlight Successful Ex-Offenders for OAR, which stands for Opportunities, Alternatives, and Resources. It is a nonprofit ex-offenders program, and it is located in Fairfield, Virginia. Her passion is assisting women recently released from prison, and to date, Bonita has worked as a consultant with several well-known human service agencies in Milwaukee and Las Vegas. So I want to welcome her to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
I would like to say that this book, and I'm getting ready to hold it up so everybody can see it. Those who are looking on the internet, you can actually see this book. It is in black and white. It is a beautiful cover. It is a young lady with her head down. And the title is Guilty, which is very big. And then it says The Inside Story. In other words, let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you what really, really happened. So before I go into the interview, I must say that this book does have vulgar language in it. Not on every page, but it is there, and I want to pre-warn those who are interested in purchasing this book that you do get it and that you read it first. If there's words that you need to black out, you can do that, but I do have to warn you, since we are a Christian radio station. This book was written after what happened, and now things have changed because she is a Christian, and I'm sure that if she had to do over again or would do over again, she would definitely use the language, but it needed to be said so that you can understand the pressure and the story of what real life is when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And prison is definitely the wrong place for a young lady who has children that she needs to raise. So Bonita, I thank you so much for taking the time to just even tell your testimony, because it's going to help so many people to know that you can start off being right and doing right, and an incident can happen that will cause you to go the other way. And the next thing you know that you're lost in whatever it is that you're doing. And that's what I found when I started reading this, that, wow, this could have happened to me. So please just briefly tell your story, just briefly, because I do have some questions, but I want the audience and the listeners to understand that you were a mother, you did have kids, you went to work, you cooked and cleaned, but something happened to cause you to start smoking the marijuana. And then, of course, as the devil says, once I get you doing one thing, then I can get you doing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and that's his whole goal. So then you started selling it, and then things got worse and worse, and the next thing you know, you're in this situation. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you to come into the mic because I want them to be able to hear it very clearly without any low soundness. As you see, I'm speaking.
Okay.
Go right ahead. Tell them just a little bit about it.
It happened in 2002. I was a travel agent, and so I came to Las Vegas as part of my job to experience the hotel and the life in Las Vegas. And so my back started bothering me, and I kept explaining to my supervisor that I was having this pain, and she would not allow me to switch into gym shoes. I had to keep on my dress shoes, even though we walked the whole strip. And everybody in Vegas knows to walk from the MGM down to Treasure Island is quite a walk, which I didn't know because I had never been here before. And so by the time I got home, I could hardly walk at all, and the pain was shooting down my leg and actually into my foot. So as soon as I got off the plane, I found myself in the emergency room. And so I had to file workers' comp. And so I kept trying to go back to work and go back to work, and I just couldn't. I was in so much pain. And so I just started smoking a lot of marijuana. And I found that when I smoked it, I could function. I'm not bragging about the fact that I smoked it, but it did alleviate a lot of that discomfort for me. And so it allowed me to interact with my children. It allowed me to cook, to go shopping, and to have a life that I wasn't having when I was in that kind of pain. And so eventually I was smoking so much marijuana that a friend of mine offered for me to sell it because they had actually discontinued my workers' comp. And so I had applied for W-2, and Wisconsin was the pilot state for that with our governor, Tommy Thompson, at the time. And so they actually told me that I was overqualified for welfare. So I couldn't get welfare, I couldn't get workers' comp, I couldn't get unemployment because I couldn't work. And so I just basically felt that my back was against the wall. I had an eviction notice, I had my children, plus I had 3 of my godchildren in my custody. And I just wanted to be able to take care of my family.
Yes. And so that's why I said that this is a wonderful testimony, because we can all start out trying to do the right thing. But with that, you need people, that's going to be supportive. That's why when we say, Christians need to gather together and meet together and go to church, there's a purpose for that, because when you fall, they're there to pick you up. But if you don't have that basis, then you have no one. And you said they didn't, and I read that part. I read that part where I was saying she couldn't get help anywhere. They turn her down here, and she's got kids. I don't understand this. But anyway, I want to start off with questions that I know the listeners are going to want to ask. And I will give out the telephone numbers right now, just in case you just heard something and you want to call in and ask that question before you forget. Our telephone number is local here. It's 702-650-5588. 650-5588. And then if you are listening on the internet or long distance, it's 1-800-366-8883. Okay? If you have a question you would like to call in. My first question is, what caused you to be in an environment where you put yourself at jeopardy? Now, I understand you was in pain, but how did you get to the point where you found somebody that you can even buy the marijuana from? That's my question, because I wouldn't have known to go that. I'd be at the doctor's, give me some pain pills, give me some Loratabs, give me something. But you were you found where you can go to get that. So how did that occur is the question.
I was on a lot of prescribed pain medications, and I had gone to a lot of specialists. I was seeing a neurosurgeon, and they just kept pumping me full of drugs, and all they made me do was just sleep all the time, and they didn't necessarily alleviate the pain that I was experiencing. And so I wasn't an angel. I'm originally from the streets. I was involved in gangs. You know, I've struggled out there. But I always had sense enough to know that I needed a job to take care of my family. And so I knew people that sold marijuana, and I don't hide that fact.
Okay. And that's fantastic to
Hmm.
know. It's always good to be honest, you know. And if you want something bad enough, you can find it. I'll
Absolutely.
give you an example. She had given me the information, and this was sort of like getting a hold of her real quick, and I needed a copy of her book to put on Facebook. And so I need a copy of your cover. She said, well, when I get back to the office, I'll send it to you. I had already gotten a copy, put it on Facebook. So I'm saying whatever you're looking for, you can find. So
Absolutely.
that's what you're saying.
And when you're using drugs, you can just pull up on the block and you can usually ask people in certain neighborhoods who got that loud or who got that weed, whatever they call it, and they'll point you directly to the house. It's not a secret.
Wow. Next question. How do you feel now about the street code of not talking about this murder? Because remember when I read your bio, I said because of those things, they said it was your fault and you did it and you going to jail.
Hmm.
And you could have immediately said it wasn't me and I didn't do it and here's the person. So now that all that has taken place, you were incarcerated. How do you feel about that street code?
I think the street code carries a double-edged sword because although they tell you that you can't talk about it, the street talks about it. Everybody was already talking about it, and nobody asked me what really happened. That my family was getting phone calls, my friends, the newspapers, news reporters, they had already developed their own story about what had happened, but nobody never stopped to ask me what happened. I was the only one that wasn't talking.
Wow. So now that like I said it occurred, you're saying because everybody knew about it, it's okay now to tell the truth and put it in writing.
I think that enough time had passed. I had to heal first because it took me 7 years to write the book because I'd start to write and I would cry. And I knew that it was an assignment that had been given to me by God that I had to write the book, but it was just so painful. And so once I finally was able to complete the book, I think people needed to know exactly what I was experiencing, what I saw, and what that's like, so we can have a real conversation, even about some of the social problems that were involved in the book, and just that I feel failed me and my family. And so I figured it was time for me to tell the inside truth. And it's a play on words. It's not only about what happened inside of prison and with the murder case, but also what was going on inside of me and what I was thinking and feeling too.
Yes. And that is so important. And I can just, well, I can't even imagine being there and being locked up and knowing that you're not in just a jail, but you're actually incarcerated in prison for something that you did not do. Now, would you tell the audience what it is that they said that you did that you didn't do?
They accused me when they arrested me. They charged me with first degree murder, and it was my friend that actually ended up getting murdered. And so they said that I had set him up and that I was the reason that he ended up getting robbed and killed. And so they were charging me with his murder.
So now, this is a question that's not on here since you said that. Did they even look for the murderer at that point, or they was trying to put all the blame on you?
They did look for the murder. They knew that it was someone else involved, and I did give them his name. And when they asked me what happened, I was so distraught and just so tired. I was actually happy when I got arrested because I was scared. I didn't know who was for me, and I couldn't trust anyone. And so I was happy. And so I told them what happened, and I just remember the detective screaming in my face where his spit was just flying in my face, and he was like, you did this, and you're going to jail for it. You're going to do 80 years. And I'm like, but I didn't. I'm telling you the truth. You asked me for the truth. I'm giving it to you. So they went and they talked to the other young man that actually did the murder, and he blamed it on me.
Oh,
So
okay.
he kept saying, no, she did it, she did it, she told me to do it. And they were actually giving him coffee and candy, and they were treating him, and I didn't know it at the time, but they were treating him like he was this golden child. And I'm sitting here saying, I didn't have any knowledge of this. I didn't know any of this was going to happen. But they were determined to charge me.
Wow. Okay, so my question is, how did the police know to come to your house and arrest you?
And that's a good question, and I get asked that question often. They knew to come to my house because my daughter's father had told one of his friends, and he was trying to protect us. He told one of his friends, and so that friend of his ended up getting caught up in um, a possession drug case. He got stopped and he had drugs on him. And as soon as he got in the back seat, the door wasn't even closed, and he was like, I know this girl named Bonita, and I know about this murder, and he was spilling it in the back seat before he even got to the police station.
Okay, okay, because that was the first thing when I started reading it, because you start out the book talking about that part, and I'm going, wow, they're knocking at her door, and it wasn't just one,
Right.
it was several of them, and how did they even know? So that answers the questions.
Hmm.
There's always a rat in the bunch.
Always. And so he was facing the three strikes and you're out. And so he was talking right away to avoid his own punishment.
Oh, okay, okay. So this book really shows you how you can get involved in stuff that you don't even know what's going on until doors start opening and information starts spilling out, and then you're going, wow, you're just one little part in this big old picture. And the picture is what Satan designed, and
Absolutely.
he is maneuvering through, and I'm saying that because I want that point to get across, that when you're in a place like that, know that it's him, and there's always other avenues. And as I started reading it, I'm going, wow, wow, wow. And then on top of that, that really got me, and I want to make it a point, is that they were going to give you 80 years. They might as
Yes.
well have just said life and then took a gun and shot you.
And I actually climbed up on the desk and tied a sweater around my neck and was going to kill myself. Because when you hear those numbers, you don't know what to do. It's like 80 years? Especially for something that I had not done. But they were so determined to charge me that when they found out that they couldn't, because I started telling them things about the crime that only somebody who was there knew, like the fact that my friend still had money in his pockets, that he still had weed in his car. That's something that the young guy who robbed him and killed him didn't know, or else he would have took that. I had my friend's car keys. I didn't touch his car. I didn't touch his belongings. And so that's how they ended up dropping the charges. But the DA was still sending me threatening letters, telling me she was going to charge me with anything that she could charge me with. And she actually found, she ended up charging me with conspiracy with intent to deliver 2,500 grams of THC. And then she later on came back and charged me with an additional charge. And that charge was theft from a corpse because I had my friend's cell phone and his keys and I threw it away.
So you had to do prison time for that, real prison time for the charges that they actually got away with charging you. How many years or months or days did you spend incarcerated?
I got 2 years for each count and they were ran concurrent, but I ended up getting the longest time for the theft from the corpse. I got more time for that than I did the drug case.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Hmm. But I do want to say that there was a turning point for me while I was in jail. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but I really need to share this. I was hallucinating, having dreams that evil spirits were talking to me, and I was really scared. And I actually saw visions of dark things outside my window, and they were calling my name, and I just really prayed. And first you start off and you're begging God, God, please, 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 please get me out of this, God, please. Then you start bargaining with them. God, please, if you get me out of this, I'll do this. But in the end, I was so tired and so hurt and knew I couldn't fight. I just said, Lord, what do you want me to do? And the answer that he gave me, I thought he had lost his mind. I heard clear as day, plead guilty. And so that's what I did to those two charges. And I was like, Lord, wait, you want me to plead guilty? No, no, that's the wrong answer. But I was obedient. And it was from that day forward, I can honestly say my family has never been homeless again. We've never been hungry. And my life has been better than it has ever been.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to say that. Because as I said at the beginning of the announcement, when she was writing this book, she was putting in all her feelings. And remember, she's in a dark world at that point, smoking weed, selling weed, being with somebody who got murdered. I mean, she saw things that most people don't even see in a lifetime. And then God always picks you up. And usually that's when we come to him, when we have fell to the bottom, and he reaches out and picks us up. And that's what he did with you. And you are absolutely right, because I lived the same life. I don't care if he takes everything that I own, and there was one point where I didn't have anything. He still provides, and I have enjoyed, just serving him and working for him. And it is fantastic. So, and he also gives you the opportunity to do something like this, because prior to that, you wouldn't even think to do it.
Right.
You might have started off writing this just to get it off of your conscience, and then you moved on. Anyway, we still have 3 minutes, so I'm going to ask you another question. You called what happened a nightmare. Was it a choice you decided to walk into with your eyes wide open, or it was just something that really did happen and it really was a nightmare?
It was something that really did happen, and it really was a nightmare. Between taking the sleeping pills, the Ambien, and taking the Percocets and the Darvocets and the morphine shots, and I was just high all the time. Sometimes I didn't know if I was coming or going or what I had even did the day before. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah. So you didn't walk into it with your eyes wide open.
Right.
If someone was interested in getting this book, I want to make sure we get that information out there so that they don't miss it. How would they get this book? And like I said, audience, I know that there is vulgarity in there, but you can just skim through that and black it out with a black magic marker. What I did is just substituted it for something else. When I started reading, I went, ooh, wow. Ooh. And so I kept substituting. I mean, it's not like every page. But anyway, if you were interested in getting this book, you need to know where to go to. So what would they go to?
They can go to my website, and that's www.change.me.com.
Say it again.
www.change.me.com. And if they order it that way, then I can autograph it for them and get it out to them the next week.
Fantastic. Now, you do counseling. If they want to try to get a hold of you, is there a number that you can give them or another email address?
They can reach me via my website. I actually have a contact page where they can shoot me an email directly from my website. And then that way I can get back to them right away.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for coming in. I want to thank you for writing this book. And audience, I do believe that it's something that you need to know, because it could happen to you, your grandkids, your children. Get the book. Bonita, thank you so much. Audience, don't forget to tune in next week to Open Book Radio Club.
Thank you for tuning in every Saturday at 2:02 p.m. to Open Book Radio Club, where like-minded people tell their stories. Poets, authors, small businesses, spoken word, and music writers come together as a community. So don't forget, tune in every Saturday at 2:02 p.m. to Open Book Radio Club.
American Family Insurance believes your dreams are what matter most. That's why we offer affordable ways to protect them.
My dream is to own a second car and a house with a 2-car garage to keep it in.
My dream is to start my own business and make my son my first employee.
Whatever your dream, we can help protect it. Learn more at amfam.com or contact your local agent. Your dream is out there. Go get it. We'll protect it.
Hi, this is Brenda Ward from Open Book Radio Club, and I recommend Julia C. Bennett at American Family Insurance.